I was on FaceTime with one of my guy friends and we got to talking about like dating and relationships. And he goes, "Have you ever heard of the pizza analogy?" I'm like, "No, what is that?" Mind you, this is my crazy ass homeboy, so I don't know if this is exactly how it goes, but it makes sense. So pretty much there's one woman, she's in her house and she's stocked up on food. Fridge full, pantry full, cabinets full. She made sure that she's straight, she could feed herself. No problem. And then there's woman number two. She's in her house. She don't got no food. Okay. Fridge empty, pantry empty. It's giving crumbs and ice cubes. She's starving. So this man goes to the first woman's house and he's like, "I got this pizza, large pizza, it's free. Do you want it?" She's like, "Yeah, sure. Free pizza. Like, why not?" He's like, "Under one circumstance, I get to leave this bag in your crib and then the pizza's yours." She looks and she's like, "Actually, you know what? Like, I'm good. I got food in the crib. Like, thanks anyways. Bye." So then he goes to woman number two's house. And he's like, "I got this pizza, large pizza for free. Do you want it?" She's like, "Hell yeah, I want it. Like, I'm in here starving." He's like, "Okay, under one condition, I get to leave this bag at your crib." And she's like, "Yep, leave the bag. I don't even care. I'm so hungry. Just give me the pizza." So he leaves the bag at her crib and it becomes like this everyday thing. He keeps coming to her crib every day with this free pizza under the circumstance that he gets to leave this bag in her house. And she's so happy about this pizza. She was so hungry that she ain't even looking in the bags, girl. She don't even know what's in the bags. She just knows that she's eating. Well, come to find out, this man, slowly but surely, has been moving all of his belongings into her crib. So now she got this man at her house that she don't even really know like that, just moved in with all his baggage. And she can't even get rid of him because she's so desperate for this pizza that he's bringing her every day. So moral of the story, which I'm sure you guys have figured out by now, is be like woman number one. Make sure that your house is filled with food. Make sure that you prioritize yourself and you pour into you and you make sure that your cup is full. So that way when a man comes and is offering you whatever and is dangling it in front of your face, you're not so desperate that you're just accepting whatever. You know, you make sure that you love yourself. You make sure that you respect yourself. You don't lower your standards and you don't ignore the red flags. And I know as women, we hear stuff like this all the time, but sometimes you just need to hear it in different ways for it to actually click. So when I heard this, I was like, oh, let me share this. Maybe it could help somebody. You never know.
Over a month ago, I asked my sister to switch her work schedule, so that I could get a day where I could see my boyfriend because I wanted to see him because we were approaching our 2-year anniversary. And she said yes, like she agreed to it, but she said that I would still have to babysit the 3 days I usually babysit. I would just have to get my days switched, if that makes sense. Instead of babysitting my usual days, which was Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, I would be babysitting Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And I told her I was okay with that because I was still going to be babysitting the same amount of days and this wasn't going to be affecting her income either, so I knew that my mom couldn't complain, or at least I thought she wouldn't complain. So I've mentioned before that my mom got a Ring camera and she installed it, and I had speculations that she was just using it to see where I was going, you know, to see when I was going out the house and coming back to the house. But I didn't really have confirmation of that until recently. So I guess the day that I went to go see my boyfriend, the Ring camera gave my mom a notification that somebody walked through our door, and she tried to open the notification, but it wasn't letting her. It only displayed like a thumbnail, and in the thumbnail was me, so she assumed I was the one walking out the door, which I was. But since she couldn't look through it, she kind of got upset because she was like, where the fuck is she going, you know? And so she texted my older sister, and I guess my older sister ratted me out or something. And she basically told her like where I was, because I had told my mom I was going to go to school to petition to graduate because I knew that if I had asked her for permission, she wouldn't have given it to me. So then my mom texted my sister and was like, "Hey, I think Kimberly's deleting the like notifications that Ring is giving me so that I don't see when she goes in and out of the house." Keep in mind, I don't have access to this Ring camera. I didn't install it for my mom. I've never asked my mom to get like access to it. I don't use my mom's phone unless she's looking at me until like literally a couple days ago. And basically like I have no access to this camera. I've never asked her for access to this camera. So for her to freaking say that I have access to this camera, I know she's fucking lying. She just wants to get me in trouble. And so when I got picked up that day, it was my dad picking me up, and I asked him like, "Hey, did my mom say anything about me not babysitting? Like, was she upset?" And he said, yeah, she was upset that my sister had sent her a message as well. And I was like, oh, like about what? Because my sister was the only one that knew where I was going. And he was like trying to just avoid answering the question. And so ever since that day, I have been trying to get access to my mom's phone to see what the messages were about, but she kept hiding it, and she never does hide it. She keeps taking it to her room at night, and one day I guess she just had to charge it, and so I went through it really quick. And my mom basically told my sister, like, hey, like, the ring camera footage is deleting from my phone, like, is that possible? And my sister said yes, if somebody has access to them, they can delete it. And my mom was like, oh, like, Kimberly has access to it, she's deleting it. And then my sister said, yeah, like, you can delete it if she has access. And then my mom said, yeah, they're like literally deleting from my phone as well. My sister was like, yeah, because they delete from the whole like app, they don't just delete on one person's phone. And then my mom said, until yesterday I was able to see when Kimberly would go in and out of the house. And then my sister said, yes, if she has access then she can delete them. And my sister was like, you can't change that unless like you limit the access that she has or you delete her off of like the account. Girl, I've never had access to that. My mom's just talking out of her fucking ass. So my speculations were correct. My mom literally only got this ring camera to see when I go in and out of the house, because she's not worried about when anybody else is going in and out of the house unless it's me. Next thing that happened was I got a new phone because my iPhone 11 literally like was dying out on me, dude, and it was like genuinely just getting so unsafe. I usually try to hold off on purchasing a new phone for like literally years. I've had this iPhone 11 for almost 5 years. I've had it for 4 years, and I purchased it with my own quince money. So like my mom and dad didn't buy it for me because they didn't want to buy me a new phone, even though the one I had before that was an iPhone 6 with like literally a battery hanging on for dear life. And so I went the other day to get a new phone, and my brother used to pay my phone bill because it was just set up like that. Like, it wasn't because I asked him to, it's just that I got my phone at a really young age, and like I couldn't pay. I didn't have a debit card. And so I got a new phone, and I had to text my mom for something. So I texted her off of my new phone because I couldn't text her off of my old one. And she like saw that it was a new number, and she was like, hey, who is this? Is this Kimberly? And I was like, yeah. And then she was like basically saying like, oh, like, how much are you paying for your new phone? You got a new phone. When did you get a new phone? Like a bunch of stuff. And I was just like ignoring her questions. And when she came home that day, after I had texted her, she was like, oh, how much are you paying for your phone? Like, who said you can get a phone? And I was like, why would I have to ask for permission to get a phone knowing that you're not going to buy me? She didn't talk to me for the rest of that day until the next day when she had dropped her phone and it cracked, and it was in front of both me and my older sister. And when it cracked, she was like, oh, it broke. And then my older sister was like, oh, ya te chingaste. And then my mom was like, no, because Kimberly's going to give me her old phone. And then I was like, she said that so casually, like if she genuinely expected me to just give her the phone. And I was like, I'm not going to give you the phone. Like, it's mine. And then she was basically like, oh, but who got you that phone? And I was like, myself, because you didn't want to buy me a new one. And she kept trying to gaslight me into thinking that I didn't buy my phone, but I bought my phone. I went to the Apple store and I bought it in full with cash, honey. And she got so mad. She was like, no, I bought it for you. I bought it for you. Like, who was the one that was buying you all those phones before that too? Like, I'm the one that's been like supporting you financially this whole time. You should just give me your phone. And I was like, why are you so like hung up on this fucking phone knowing that you didn't buy it? Like, you didn't even buy the phones before that. They were given to me by Barack Obama, honey. To mention that she takes away my phone at every inconvenience, honey. If I would have given her that phone, I would have done the same shit to her. Like, bitch, give me that phone. Sorry, that was like elder abuse or something. But yeah, I wouldn't like give her my phone knowing how she treated me before that. Like, girl, you really thought I was gonna give it to you? And then the last story for today is how my younger sister got a boyfriend, and my mom, I guess, found out about it, and she didn't do shit about it, and she was blaming me for her finding out. It sounds weird, I'm sorry, but let me explain it to you. So my younger sister, she's only 10. She's turning 11 this year, but she's only 10. She's in 5th grade, okay? And I guess she got a boyfriend at school, and the way my mom found out was because my younger sister told me she got a boyfriend, but I didn't want to tell my mom. But I also didn't want my younger sister to have a boyfriend because, girl, she's 10, and like obviously I worry for her. She's still a baby to me. Like, every 10-year-old is still a baby to me. To me, there's no reason for them to have a boyfriend at that age. But at the same time, I was just like, okay, like, what am I supposed to do? You know, I'm not the parent to be disciplining her. And so I basically just like stayed quiet about it for one day, okay? One fucking day I stayed quiet about it. And my little sister basically called this freaking boy on speaker while my parents were home. And you guys already know how my parents feel about calls, okay? And so my mom walked in the middle of their call, and my sister thought she wasn't gonna say anything because, like, I guess my sister's just used to her being like not strict with her, I guess. But my mom literally lost her shit and was like, hang up that phone right now. Like, who do you think you are having a boyfriend at this age? Like, you are literally 10 years old. Like, you're gonna be a freaking whore when you grow up. Like, saying a bunch of things that I would never say to a 10-year-old. And I just feel like my mom went about it in the wrong way, because why are you saying that a 10-year-old's gonna be a whore because she has a boyfriend? So my sister didn't hang up, and she was like, oh no, it's just a friend. So my mom went out the room, which is crazy to me because my mom would have whooped my ass and still taken my phone if I had said that to her. So she goes out of the room and she goes into the living room, which is where I am, and she starts yelling at me, and she's basically saying that I set this example for my sister and it's also my fault because no la regaño. And I was like, I did regañar her, girl. I did do that. And first of all, that's not even my job, okay? But I still did you the favor of getting her in trouble. But second of all, I can't discipline her. She's not my kid to discipline, okay? I can't take away her phone. You're her mom. You have to do that. And so my mom comes back in like 20 minutes later. My sister's still on the phone with this boy, okay? And then my mom's like, give me your phone right now if you're not going to hang up on him. And so she took away my sister's phone. And while she's taking the phone, she's telling her, oh, and the reason that I'm doing this is because of your older sister. Like, this is her fault. She told me everything. Keep in mind, I haven't told her anything. So she's just pulling shit out of her ass like she always does. Girl, the next fucking morning, she took away the phone at 8 p.m., okay? The next fucking morning, 7 a.m., she gives my sister her phone back again. Keep in mind, at the age of 18, I've gotten my phone taken away for a week to 2 weeks at a time.
All right, you guys, story time on one of the worst clients I ever had, and this is the client that ultimately made me stop doing makeup. I was supposed to do the story time yesterday. Sorry, series of unfortunate events. Anyways, this is when I was working at Macy's. I was the counter manager at Macy's, and next to my counter, I was the Impulse Beauty Manager counter. Next to my counter was the MAC counter. These 4 girls came in because they were going to a Future and Megan Thee Stallion concert, and they needed their makeup done, and they all had appointments booked at MAC. And the only person that was working at MAC at the time was the counter manager, and he didn't realize that he had accidentally, like, quadruple booked himself. He walks over to my counter and he says, hey, Kenya, I overbooked myself. Is it possible that you can take one of the girls? I can do the other 3 if you just do this one. I say, okay, no problem. That's perfectly fine. Quick side note, you guys, I've talked about it before. I'm going to talk about it again. This One Size Beauty base thinner, I cannot get enough of this. I just use this to thin out my Armani foundation. The shade match is impeccable, and the formulation of this, oh my God, Patrick, you really outdid yourself when you made this. So the girl in question comes and sits down in my chair, and she shows me a picture of a look from MUA. Her name is Taylor Made Jane. Okay, I'm going to insert a picture of the look and of Taylor Made Jane. I love Taylor Made Jane. Okay, Taylor Made Jane, she be putting that on. Okay, so she sits down and she shows me this picture of what she wants. I say, cool, bet. I ask her all of the necessary questions. I say, are you sure this is what you want? This is kind of like a full glam. Is this what you're looking for? Yes, this is what I want. Da, 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 da. Okay, you have to make sure that people know what they want, because they can say they like something and then when you put it on them, they hate it. Subtle foreshadowing. No, I know what you guys are going to say. You're going to say, Kenya, why didn't you let her look at the makeup as you were doing it? She fell asleep. She fell asleep, okay? They had been day drinking, and when she sat in my chair, she was out like a light. She even had a subtle snore, okay? So you guys, I had to wake her up because I had to apply her lip. So I go to put the nude lip on her, the same exact lip that Taylor Made Jane had on. And when I go to show her her makeup, she absolutely hated it. And the first thing she said, she was like, maybe we can like spruce it up with like a hot pink lip. Then we start playing Ring Around the Rosie, walking around the entire makeup counter looking for a bright, vibrant, hot pink that she likes. And she stops at a Too Faced liquid lipstick that is so neon pink that it's almost glowing in the dark. Proceed to take the nude lip off of her. I put on the pink, and this is where she lost it. She lost it because, you guys, she's my complexion. And so I used a little bit of a brown lip liner just to blend in the pink with her skin tone. And she hated that. She said, I would prefer to just put the pink on, no lip liner. You want to just raw dog hot pink lipstick and you're black? That's a hate crime. Then her friends come over to the counter. She starts complaining, and her friends start trying to tell her that the makeup actually looks really pretty, but she hates it. And then she hits me with the, I don't really wear a lot of makeup. I'm more so just like a tinted moisturizer kind of person, and I put on a little bit of chapstick. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. Friends then asked me if I'd be willing to take the makeup off and redo her entire face, which I so stupidly said yes to. And then I did a little bit of something, and she wanted something even more extreme. She said, can we do a neutral eye with a pop of hot pink in the corner? If you already don't like wearing makeup, then you're not gonna like that. And then she had the audacity to say, can you guys steam our clothes here for the concert? I said, absolutely not. She asked me to take her makeup off again. I gave her a wipe. She took her makeup off. As she was leaving, she gave me a dirty look. And it was in that moment I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. And I never did another client after that.
I once watched a video of a woman explaining that during times of like accomplishment and growth, people will reveal how selfish they are, and specifically talking about like weddings, having a baby. I have heard the horror stories with like bridezillas and monster-in-laws and all the drama that can go on with planning and hosting a wedding. I never thought that I would like firsthand experience it. Also, hold on, just look at this. So anyway, my best friend's getting married in June. I'm her maid of honor. We've known each other since we were in 5th grade, and throughout the whole process of planning her wedding, like, I've been at her side, I've been helping her out, and I love that. I love doing it for her. And she had 2 other bridesmaids that she had known for a little over a year, and they had worked together. My best friend asked us to go off and plan her bridal shower. She wanted it to be a complete surprise. She had sent me a mood board that she made on Pinterest with everything that she wants for her wedding and bridal shower, bachelorette party, everything. And the theme that she chose for her bridal shower was Kisses to the Misses. And it was pink and red and fun and hearts and girly and so my best friend. And so I had known that, and so I sent this picture to the group chat that we were in. I said, like, hey, you know, Valentine's Day is almost over, like, we should definitely take advantage of all of the sale items, buy a bunch of stuff for this bridal shower. And the response wasn't what I expected. It was very much like pulling back on the idea, you know, and like making excuses, like good stuff will be picked through, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to find anything. I just think having a Galentine's Day looking theme in March is tacky. What? One, I don't think that's tacky. I think it's adorable. I think it's fun and it's cute. Second of all, it's not your fucking wedding. You don't have to plan that kind of bridal shower for your own wedding, but for you to sit here and comment on the bridal shower theme that the bride picked out herself, that's wild. And guess what? That was just the beginning. So that kind of puts me off a little bit. I wouldn't lie and say that I was pretty upset about that comment, just because my best friend is like everything to me, and I was very offended for her. So I got her mom involved, and her mom wanted to be involved anyway. She wanted to help plan, and so I added her to the group chat, and basically, to sum it up, the next 3 days were us trying to plan a time to meet so we could talk about our ideas, because I didn't think I would accomplish anything just texting them. I wanted to talk to them in person. It's easier to say things from behind a phone screen, and so I wanted to meet with them, and 3 days of trying to just get them to meet with me and my best friend's mom. They would say a day worked for them, and then we would plan on that day, and they'd be like, oh, never mind, that doesn't work. And it was just 3 days of that. And for me, it was just like, they're making excuses. They don't want to come. And there were things that they could have moved around and shuffled around. It's just like, they didn't care enough. And that really bothered me too, because when you agree to be a bridesmaid, you have to care. You have to care to make the bride happy on her special day. And I don't understand the concept of, like, you can't be a bridesmaid and not do any work. Like, that's just not, like, you have to be able to put your foot in for the bride, because you want her to have a great special day. You want her to have a great wedding. Like, during all this, they were making, like, petty and snarky remarks to me and my best friend's mom, and I just, again, don't understand that. Like, whatever, you can kind of speak to me down, we're, like, the same age, whatever, but to make those kind of comments to the mom? Who do you think you are? the bride's mom. I don't know. Anyway, so me and her mom ended up meeting without them and kind of going over and just nailing in details because we were like, we can't waste any more time. And so we got a date set. We got everything set. Venues picked out, everything. And I just texted them and I just said, this is what it is. We tried to accommodate towards your complicated schedules. Like, here it is. Hope you can make it. Any effort would be greatly appreciated. That's like what we had gotten to. And they ended up not responding to me. One of them texted the bride and like, kind of like was trying to tattle on me, which my best friend found so immature. She's like, we're all adults, like, you can just talk to Julia about it privately. But of course, she has to bring the bride into it. And Natalia's just like, I don't see what the big deal is. Like, she knows me the best, talking about me. Like, you should coordinate with her. And then the bridesmaid sends her a mood board that the two bridesmaids put together about how they want her bridal shower to look. So now at this point, it's not even about the bride, it's about what they want. Because the theme that she picked out was too tacky, so they're like, here, this is what you should do. It's not your fucking wedding! Oh my god. So then, my best friend texts me, and now she's pissed. And I kind of broke the news to her, like, hey, like, they've been difficult this entire time. Me and your mom are worried that they're not real friends. They're selfish people. For whatever twisted reason they're trying to make the wedding about them. And they, like, have this ego that we need to stroke all the time. And I just am worried about them taking over and not being at your wedding for the right reasons. My phone got too hot. Anyway. So my best friend ended up texting them after all of that because she was pissed and I was worried and her mom was over it. So she ended up texting them and saying very nicely, they're lucky that I was the one who texted them. So she texts them, due to the complicated scheduling, I think it's best that you attend my wedding as guests. That was it. Took them a couple days to respond. One of them actually took it very good. Okay, give her that. The other one was like, this was like a personal attack. Nothing about this is personal. Actually, it is personal. It's personal because you tried making her wedding too fucking personal. And I was just appalled. My jaw was on the floor. I just don't understand what goes on in those people's mind. I don't get it.
If you think your mother-in-law is bad, mine invited an unaliver to my wedding. This story is actually insane and a reminder to always trust your gut on things. My husband was never really close with his mom. He was raised by his dad and his stepmom, so before we got engaged, I'd actually only met her like 2 or 3 times. Every time I met her, she had been really nice and really fun. Definitely not somebody that has the best decision-making skills, but I never had an issue with her. But then we started planning the wedding and a different side of her came out, one that I could have never expected. Keep in mind, I was not close to this woman. Before I got engaged, never spoke to her on the phone. Suddenly, she's calling me every day, sometimes twice a day, to complain about things about the wedding. She hates everything. She hates my dress, she hates the venue, she hates the flowers, she hates the day that it's on, and she wants me to change all of it. And it is on one of these many, many phone calls when she asks if she can invite somebody to our wedding. So my husband has a stepbrother. They have never gotten along. I've actually only met him once and I got very bad vibes from him. They are basically no contact. He's just always getting into trouble, doing bad things, really aggressive every time he's at a family event. Just not a very good person, if you know what I'm saying. I was like, yeah, girl, that is not happening. I'm sorry, just because your family does not mean you get an auto invite to a wedding. We don't talk to this man. He gives us both bad vibes. He's not going to be there. But she throws an absolute fit about this. She's like, everyone in the family is going to be wondering why he's not there. This is horrible. You have to invite him. And at this point, my husband and I are just so exhausted with everything that she's been hounding us about. So we give in, which was a mistake in hindsight. We should have really stood our ground. But we're like, you know what? He can come. Just make sure that he is seen but not heard. And I think that's the end of it until she calls me a week later and doesn't ask, but tells me that my husband's stepbrother is going to be staying with us in our home during the wedding. I was like, excuse me? No, he is not. He is not going to be doing that. And she starts giving me this sob story. She's like, there's no more room in our hotel room. And he can't afford his own hotel room. And he has nowhere to stay and nowhere to go. And he doesn't know what he's going to do. And I was like, well, he doesn't have to come then. I didn't want him there anyway. My husband didn't want him there anyway. Like, stay home. And I saw the look in my sweet, empathetic husband's eyes. He was about to give in. He was about to say yes. So I was like, sorry, we're breaking up. I gotta call you back. Hung up. I looked right at my husband. I said, listen, babe, there's absolutely no universe where that man is going to be staying in our home. Now, my husband works, so there are times in the day where I'm home alone, and I did not want to be home alone with this man. I didn't feel safe. And my husband was like, okay, being like a little dramatic. Yeah, he's not a good guy. We don't like him, but he's not dangerous. I was like, I'm telling you right now, something in my gut does not feel right about this. I do not want to be alone with this man. Thankfully, my husband has my back. He's like, okay, well, I'll tell her no. So we call back his mom. We tell her that he can't stay with us. And, she cries, she screams, she tries to persuade us. But my husband put his foot down and he did not stay with us. Thank God. The day of the wedding comes. It's great, lovely day. And the weirdest thing is that my husband's mom is trying to put his stepbrother in all of our family photos, like positioning him right in the middle or right next to my sisters. And it's just weird because, again, he is not close with my husband. They do not get along. They do not talk. So, I mean, putting him in one or two photos, okay, but every single photo, like, sorry that we do want photos without him. That's not rude. We did position him on the edge for some of them so we could just, crop him out. Whoops. But the whole time, my mother-in-law was making these backhanded comments about how we were in the wrong for not letting his stepbrother stay with us. I was like, he's a stranger. She was like, you could just let him crash on your couch. I was like, no, I don't want a stranger in my home. And over the years, she has continued to bring up the fact that we didn't let him stay with us. She was like, it was so inconvenient. We all had to cram in a hotel room. I was like, I don't care. I don't care. It's just not my problem. But recently, my husband and I were watching the news, and that's when we see a mugshot pop up of his stepbrother. I turned the volume up so loud. I was like, okay, what is going on? It turns out that he had lost his temper and unalived his girlfriend. If I wouldn't have trusted my gut, I would have been home alone with that man. If you feel in your gut that something's wrong, a situation or a person, trust it. Don't let somebody pressuring you make you just fold and give in, because you can put yourself in really bad, dangerous situations. Stay safe and trust your instincts.
Would I be the asshole if I went forward with naming my possible baby boy after my brother-in-law when his long-term girlfriend told me no? I, 30 female, am just short of 36 weeks pregnant with my first baby. My husband, 30 male, and I are not finding out the gender until delivery. Thus, we must have a name prepared for both genders. It is important to me that no matter the gender, some part of the name honors family. Unfortunately, I come from a very broken immediate family. My parents had a nasty divorce, my sister went no contact from my mom, etc. Nonetheless, I was named after my late maternal grandma, so the girl name will honor her. The boy name is a different story. Some context. The implosion of my immediate family happened when my husband and I were first dating in our early 20s. I obviously relied heavily on his family for support. Once we got married, together for 8 years, married for 3, I officially regained an intact family. My husband has no interest in naming our potential boy after himself. His younger brother, 28 male, had previously played a very present role in our lives. He even lived with us briefly. Very intelligent, kind man. His name is a popular U.S. capital city. Let's say Memphis. We were close before he began dating Ashley, 25 female. Ashley and I get along very well, but Ashley doesn't like my mother-in-law or really anyone in his family. She doesn't really like that she has to spend time away from her very close-knit family to visit my husband's family on holidays, etc. Brother-in-law also moved to the other side of our state to live with her, closer to her family, so we see them less. They are very serious and will likely marry. It hurts me that Ashley doesn't appreciate both her family and her future in-laws. It seems to be all about her family. Back to my main point. I notified Ashley via text that if we have a boy, we are going to surprise brother-in-law by giving our baby the middle name of Memphis. I thought she would be excited and feel included in the surprise. Instead, she responded very negatively. She claims that she wanted to name their future son Memphis. They're not even engaged. I'm at the point of my pregnancy where I really don't give a shit. Pardon my language. I responded and told her I wasn't a question. It's happening. My husband's family is all I have. I don't want to drive brother-in-law and Ashley away as I'm very sensitive to losing family after my own experiences. But Ashley can use a boy name from her side of the family. She talks about them like they are gods anyway. Would I be the asshole if I go through with naming my potential boy after brother-in-law, or should I consider her perspective?